Hey there, friends, how are you today? I hope this finds you well. And we're looking today at Genesis chapter 30. And I've entitled this video Is Justice Blind Part 2 because that video, when we talked about Leah last week, really what we're going to talk about today is the back side of that. It's the other side of the coin, if you will, of this story, because Leah is despised, and so she needs someone to give her justice. She doesn't have anybody. Her husband, her father, her sister, there's nobody in her life. So the Lord opens her womb and gives her justice. But Rachel, he closes her womb. And it says there in verse 1 of chapter 30, when she saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister. Tell me what good thing comes out of envy. Nothing. Nothing ever has, nothing ever will. Envy is a recipe for a lot of other bad things. And that's what we see happen in this passage. Actually, we flesh out James 3:16 in this passage very nicely. If you want to know about envy, read James 3:16 and then come back here and look at Rachel's story, because she envies her sister not because of something her sister's done, but because of something that God has done. But she attributes it to her sister because, of course, she's the prettiest, and she's the smartest, and she's the loveliest, and she's the most well-favored, and everybody says it. So if everybody says it, then why can't God get on the bandwagon and get it right? How come he can't bless her? No, he has to bless cow-eyed Leah. You see how that works? So her selfishness, her pride, her envy, all of this works together to produce a stew of sin that is just very, very ugly, but it's instructive for us. These things are written so that we might know how to live. All right, so if we go down into the passage, I want you to look at the first 6 verses, because we see all the things that are happening. Actually, the first 10 verses. We see all the things that are happening in the life of Rachel, Leah, and Jacob. And Jacob is as culpable as anybody here. He should have said no to his wife. When she said, "Take my handmaid and have children by me through her," Jacob should have said no. Of course, he should have said no to taking Rachel after he was tricked into taking Leah. Multiple wives is not God's way. God's way was one man, one woman. We see that corrupted later on after the fall when, Lamech took 2 wives. He took 2 wives, and then all of a sudden you have men doing that. Esau takes 2 wives, which is a grief to the family. We see this happening over and over and over in the stories, and it's never good, and it never works well, never works at all, and it's not God's will. And so now he's got 2 wives. She says, "Take Bilhah." Well, why not add a 3rd? I mean, honestly, after 2, once you've broken the commandment, you've crossed the line. You know what God wants, and you go past that. I mean, why not take 4? Why not take 5? Why not take 12? I mean, why not do what Solomon did? So Jacob is culpable in this, but Leah also gets sucked into the whole envy thing, because then she gives Zilpah to Jacob to have children. And so Rachel's envy not only draws in her husband, but it also draws in Leah into the sin, and she credits God for approving of the actions of her and Jacob in giving her children by Bilhah. And God never did that. He never approved it. It was never his will. It happened because, in the course of human living, that's what's going to happen. Children are going to be born, and Jacob has children by that lady, but God's not in that. Now he blesses the boy that's born, Dan. Dan becomes a tribe in Israel. But he didn't bless the action, he didn't bless the decision, and he certainly didn't bless the envy. So what's the remedy here? We've got this envy that takes place and this stew of sin that comes out of it. But the remedy here is the Lord. If Rachel turns and looks to the Lord and repents of her sin, if Rachel adds Christ to the situation and trusts him and waits on him, things are going to be vastly different. The stew will never get stirred. The ingredients will never be added. All the sinning will never happen. All of that's going to be done if she turns to the Lord. And that's true for us as well. If we turn to the Lord, all of this will be changed. You know, there will be no explosion of the stew. You know, it's not going to blow up in our face, because if we turn to the Lord in humility and seek His face and walk in His ways, all of this could have been avoided. And even after it happened, it could have been healed and relationships restored. Well, I hope you'll have a great day. I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. Enjoy the pastor's letter today, and I'll talk to you soon.